All right. What's going on, everyone out there? It is December 27th. It is a Friday. And yes, it's the day before the weekend before the last game of the year. And are we talking about game plans? No. Are we talking about playoffs? No. What we're talking about today is the official announcement of what some people wished not to see, and then what other people thought was going to happen eventually, and that was Dan Quinn and Thomas Ditimroff staying around for 2020. How y'all doing? This is Steve out here on Steve's Sports Talk and More on Facebook. Also, Steve's Sports Talk and More on the YouTube channel. And, of course, as always, in my favorite Atlanta Falcon fan group, the Atlanta Bird Game. Here, how y'all doing today? So I'm pretty sure, especially those of you who were driving to work or going to breakfast or something like that, received the same alerts that I did. And right around that time, the alert saying, breaking news. It had a little Falcons emblem on it. And the first thing you say was, man, ought to pull the trigger pretty quick. But come to find out that that was not the case at all. Arthur Blank and what they released as looks like something they had on tap early. He and Rich McKay had a little pre-recorded message just verifying to some of you. I must admit I was probably in the park of thinking that Dan Quinn was going to get released, but they made it plain and clear that Mr. Quinn and Mr. Ditimroff will be here for the year 2020. So I say to you all, they're back. Are you? And it's plain and simple. Just looking forward to see what you all have to say about that. My personal views on it. Again, I have been very vocal in saying that this team needs a change. I feel like I did not like the way this season started, and it was the same last year. And I'm just hoping we're not going through some type of Groundhog Day type thing with this Falcon team where we go into the next year and say, okay, we'll get it right this time. Okay, we'll get it right this time. And just hope for the best. Now, listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't dislike Dan Quinn as a person. I think he seems to be somebody, a rallying point kind of guy. He has all the makings of a good coach, and it seems like who gets people to rally behind him. I must admit that. You got to admit that. You see the players. You see what's going on. I think the only question I have to ask, and I must ask it, is, is he the right person for us going forward? Listen, if they're putting a lot of the changes in, they still have. Sounds like they're going to keep Morris in. I'm pretty sure Ulbrich will still be there. Rich McKay now becomes the buffer between Arthur Blank and Ditimroff and Dan Quinn. So Rich McKay will pretty much start running football operations over Ditimroff and Quinn, which might be a good thing. Rich McKay is a football guy. Rich McKay is a good football mind. I can't deny he was there when Tampa Bay Super Bowl. He was here for our Super Bowl. Cannot question his football knowledge. And hopefully that'll be the bridge between success. Right now, I just don't know. Listen, I'm going to ride or die anyway because I'm Atlanta Falcons, but I really want to see what you all think. It'll be interesting to see some of the comments coming on. I see some of you coming on already. Thank you for joining us. Lisa, how are you? The news today gained me some wrinkles. Yeah. Tidy, how you doing, my friend? I'm pretty sure you will be up and at 'em if you haven't already. I've been in and out, so I haven't had a chance to look at a lot of posts. I was eagerly ready to get here to the Facebook and talk to everybody and see how they're feeling about it. I mean, it is what it is. I think my first reaction, is it anger? No. I do scratch my head and say, okay, are we saying we're satisfied with these last 2 years and the start? Now, if you all go look on AtlantaFalcons.com, they have a little pre-recorded message that Arthur Blank and Rich McKay put out, and it was clear that they were not happy with how the season started, but this 5-2 streak near the end has been enough for them to gain confidence in Quinn and Ditimroff. Also keep in mind, and I think in the group we brought it up before, Blank and Ditimroff also are still owed 2 more years from that extension they signed after the 2017 season. So let's not pretend like this is not a money thing too. I mean, there's no need to go out and get somebody new. I'm speaking from Arthur Blank. If I'm still on the hook to pay these 2 guys, then I'm going to have to convince somebody to come in here and pay them some extra money to make sure they run this team. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. Damien says, some mad people in Georgia? I'm sure it is, man. Todd says we're going to be all right. Lisa said I had a screw face. Philip, LOL, I knew DQ would be here until his contract was up. Philip, I remember you being one of the voices that was always saying they would. So I guess, hey, you called it. Henri, how you doing, my friend? All in, rise up. Kristen, either way, I'm there. Anyone not, bye. And Kristen, that's pretty much going to be my deal. I'm not going to sit here and try to listen. There are many things that we need to fix, starting with this salary cap and starting with figuring who's going to be here. Yes, there are. So everything that I'm going to say is being constructive as far as critique toward what we need to do to improve ourselves in 2020. Obviously, another 7-9 season, I just can't. I just can't deal with. That's just going to be difficult. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to catch up with some of my stuff here. Cedric, I'm totally bummed. Black coaches don't get this many opportunities. You're right about that, but I'm not going to play the race card on this. That has zero to do with this particular situation right here. So I'm not going to play that game. Y'all can go to another post for that one. Frank, I'm glad DQ staying, but I want TD gone. Well, it sounds like they come as a package deal. And if you remember me talking to y'all weeks on end, that's the one thing I did believe, that this was going to be a package deal one way or the other. It was. Over on Steve's Sports Talk, we got the Arthur Blank interview. I didn't hear the whole interview. Was disturbing. He totally gave Dan Quinn credit for saying he needed to make a change in the coaching. You think, listen, that I was a little disappointed when he made that comment about making the changes, because my biggest argument has always been, it's not that he made the changes. Yeah, you're right. You had to make changes. Why not make changes at 1 and 3? Why not make changes at 1 and 4? Why not make changes at 1 and 5? That's crazy. Cyrus, my friend, what's going on, said, I will always ride with my Falcons, but I have no problem criticizing. You got to. We have to keep them honest, y'all. We have to. If we don't say it, and I like the fact that Arthur Blank during the interview said he acknowledged that the fans should be disappointed. He didn't try to play. He didn't go probably Jerry Jones and say, well, who cares? I'm the owner. He realizes that. He's not a stupid man. Maybe a little too loyal for me sometimes, but not really stupid. Jory said, what's going on, Steve? What's your reaction to all this? My reaction is, again, little numb, because I'm feeling like I'm on the fence. I want to support this move. I'm going to support the move. I'm not going anywhere. this is my team. So I'm not going to go anywhere as far as going to another team. But at the same time, it'll be interesting to see going forward now with the personnel moves. They're basically saying everybody who's in Flowery Branch in those offices are basically going to stay in those offices. So that means they're going to be personnel moves. And that's where I'm very interested to see how that goes. Brother Keith, what's going on? You already knew this was going to happen when he won all them non-factor games at the end. Next year, same team, same outcome. I will say this, Keith, and I'm not saying that those wins, some of those wins were empty. Jacksonville win is empty. Carolina win the second time was empty. You go to New Orleans and you go to San Francisco in meaningful games for them now, not so much for you, but meaningful games for them. And you beat good teams. San Francisco is now the slouch. San Francisco, New Orleans, there's a great chance that that's an NFC championship preview. And you've beat both at their place. It's pretty impressive. Do they get a pass? No. But, I just wish they would have thought this whole thing out a little bit more. D'Angelo, I like the decision, early statement to retain our head coach, back to business with no rumors or speculation. D'Angelo, that was probably smart for them to get ahead of Black Monday so there wouldn't be any, media. It would be media countdown up there at Flowery Branch if there was no word until after the Tampa Bay game about this. So get it out there, get a pre-recorded message. You're not standing in front of reporters. Business as usual. No need for a press conference. They're staying. It'll be interesting to see Dan Quinn's first press conference after that, because I'm pretty sure it's a collective from him. Gerald, does the second half performance earn him another chance? Maybe. But if it starts out this way next year, you have to can him quickly. 4 games in, no matter what people may say about firing coaches in the season. My only thing is, Gerald, it's going to be the same person that's pulling the trigger in front. He didn't pull the trigger after 8 games. This was a tailor-made decision to be made at the bye. You were 1-7. You were struggling mightily. They were not saying that they weren't giving effort. It was just bad effort. That would have been the time to make the move to me. So I hear you when you say 4 games in, but what makes you think that after 4 games in, they're going to make the decision if they didn't make it after the first 8 games in here? Hey, Brother Glover, you told me, man. You did. Like I said, I put you in the Phillip category. You guys did say that he was coming back. Lisa, is Cutter still going to be around? Do we know? They haven't said anything about it, so we'll see whether that's going to be change they made. They didn't. Obviously, the big deal was Ditimroff and Quinn. I would imagine that Morris and Ulbrich are going to stay around unless they get a look somewhere as head coach. But I'm assuming they're going to stay. Henri change going to come, maybe not coming this season, but it is what it is. My fanship isn't determined by the coach, QB, and I stand with the team, and I'll just do that. And that's kind of where I am, and I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of fans are. I didn't become a Falcon fan because I knew Dan Quinn was coming 20 years later or 30 years later. I didn't become a Falcon fan because I knew Thomas Ditimroff was going to be my future GM. So I'll be here probably longer than as far as a fan as they will. Let's just hope it gets some results, man. I mean, because at this point, with the touches of angels that they've received the last 2 years, dude, you can't get less than what? NFC Championship? I mean, because it almost feels like anything less than that, you might as well not make the I don't know. I think the bar is high for this team. And 5-2 in the second half is great, but what, NFC Championship or bust? That's what I think. Corliss, how you doing, man? Blank really didn't want to fire Quinn. We shall see how this works out. I don't think he wanted to fire anybody, man. I think he's made it clear that he likes Dan Quinn. I know he likes Thomas Dimitroff. Thomas Dimitroff has been there as long as Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan and Thomas Dimitroff, contrary to everyone's critiques and whatever, has given him more good years than bad, has had more success in this Atlanta franchise since that hiring of Dimitroff and the drafting of Matt Ryan. Those two guys together have brought this franchise to a higher expectation. Sans the last 2 years, of course, but you can't. I think if you're Arthur Blank, you see that and you say, you know what, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a chance. Amelia, how you doing? Oh my God, I finally caught you live. How you doing? How you doing out there? Good to have you in. Thank you for checking us out on YouTube. I'm on the YouTube channel, Steve Sports Talk, and more. Check us out on there, on Atlanta Bird Game, also on Steve Sports Talk and more on Facebook. Vernon says, Matt is horrible. Falcons have been nothing since Vic. Well, you know, that's such a it's not even a relevant statement, but more or less that's not factual. So that's so we'll just come in there. Vernon, on another time, I am going to join people in on the stream, but for right now, because I know my time is limited, I'm not going to bring anybody in. We'll probably bring people in on the weekend. But thank you for joining us anyway. But we're going to do this and kick out of here in another 40 minutes and just try to wrap things up and just get everyone's thoughts on here. Matter of fact, speaking of which, let me get over here to this side. Jory says, any expectations going forward from here on out? I mean, the expectations, again, to me, NFC Championship or bust, in my opinion. Benjamin said, it could be a long season. We are diehard fans, so we're still going to cheer them on. Tidy, I knew Dimitroff wasn't going, but keeping Quinn blindsided me too. But I still thought they were a package deal, Tidy. I didn't think that they were going to do that. Chris, I don't care no more. I just want to win this chip. DSGB for life, baby. Rise up. Philip, back to the Marion Campbell days. Not that bad. Come on now. Marion Campbell, no, you know better, Philip. Come on now. Those are miserable days. Matter of fact, we had gone 1-7 with Marion Campbell. All that stuff about tanking, that would have been right on point because you know good and well Marion Campbell wouldn't have finished 5-2. Ruben, how you doing? I'm back. I do trust in our front office and coaches. I know it was ugly at 1-7, but I do not want to give him another chance. I think this can be fixed. I never felt he was a bad coach. I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't think he may be as good of a head coach as we may have been giving him credit for. But again, give the man some credit. There's no taking away that the man was the head man when we went to the Super Bowl. There's no taking away that the man went to playoffs 2 years in a row. Look, do we want more? Absolutely. Should we expect more? Yes. With 6 to 7 players making $10 million a year going into the 2020 season, we better expect some more. Maurice, we have to realize that Arthur Blank weighed all options. The team made some positive strides during the second half of the season. Improvement is improvement, but we can't switch coaches every other year. I'm tired of seeing new faces on the sideline. Do you think coaching is an issue? Yes. Do I think coaching is an issue? Yes. But we do have to ride with it. We did win a few big games in New Orleans, San Francisco, and Carolina. And that's the thing I'm asking, Maurice. So you kind of answer my question when I put up my post. They're back. Are you? I'm back. I'm always going to be here. So I'm not. That's not a question to me. But I do ask you. I've seen many a post where a lot of you are very vocal about Dan Quinn shouldn't be here. He's the worst thing. He's the scourge of the earth. He shouldn't be here at all. He's horrible. Dimitroff can't pick anybody. All he picks is specialty players. He can't pick any defensive players. He's not good on the offense. All of that. So all of that culminates into this morning's decision where we're saying, despite all those shortcomings, Arthur Blank says, yeah, they'll be here for 2020. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? It does kind of makes me say, wow, I thought there would be some major changes coming up front, but it's his team too. At the end of the day, y'all, it's that man's team. He got to make the decision. It's his stadium. Tidy, the New Orleans game was a good win, but that's our division rival, so the records never matter. The San Francisco game, they were banged up, and we had unfinished business with Kyle. So in the case the team came prepared to play, I could understand if we came out undefeated after the bye week, but the second half performance wasn't enough for me to keep Quinn. I just honestly feel like the first half is still on his record. All the stuff you said is absolutely true, Tidy, but where's the accountability for 1-7? It's not two halves of a season like they used to do in what sport was that they used to play? Well, it's like minor league baseball. They used to have the half the season, and then they come back and play the second half season, and then the two champs would play together. That's not how this works. The accountability is from September to December. And it was so horrific, as Arthur Blank used himself, the word he used. It was so horrific from the first half of the season. You have to look back at the last 2 years and say, what is it that gets this team started slow? Remember this year, this is the first preseason game we won in years. We haven't even had a winning feeling at the beginning of the last couple of years. We've lost preseason games leading up to regular season games. Last year, we did the same thing this year. So what is it that's stopping what is it that's holding us back with these slow starts? It's ridiculous to me, but again, I'm not running the team, but boy, it seems like they better make some better decisions. That's all I'm saying. Dan Quinn had better come up with something spectacular to stop these little 1-7, 1-3, 1-5 starts that he has, because that'll get you out of the season quick. Daniel, rise up, my friend. Glad Raheem gets a chance at DC. Hey, he earned that. Oh, my boy Tony, here he goes. Tony says, here we go. Gerald, why 4 games in? Because you have to learn from experience. It will also show that Blanks is tuned in and knows what the hell is going on. But I'm sure he's tuned in, Gerald, but to me, 4 games, shoot, 2 games. If you see your team performing, if you see you going down that same road that you've gone down the last 2 years, shoot, if you feel like you have to take the hook the first 2 games, take the hook, do it. I mean, yeah, we got to do better. Tony said you guys will be singing the same song next year. But the fans will, though, Tony. I mean, fans are going to be fans. Can't stop fans from being fans. That team down in Arlington been riding with their team for 30 years since the last Super Bowl, or 20 years, I should say, since the last Super Bowl. And they still ride. Fans going to ride. I'm not knocking any fans for riding, because I'm a fan. I'm going to be riding. Daniel, I'll support anyone that wears the logos and the colors. There you go. That's it. Thomas, if you're not with us at 6-10, don't jump on the bandwagon next year when we're at 7-9. Oh, man, that's horrible. Philip, AB think he's slick. He didn't want to fire DQ, so he put McKay in charge to do it. That might have been a slick move. That's something to think about, Philip. Tony, we know how this is going to work out. Molly, damn, I was wishing for Rick Smith to take Dimitrov's fault. It was kind of, I'd say Melly, I apologize. My eyes are horrible. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that GM spot was going to be somebody else looking at these players and evaluating. I don't want to see 7 other GMs come in here and help them. We just need to just get the better scouting. Let's get some better odds on this draft because, as I told y'all again, we are so cash strapped right now that the 6 to 7 players that you draft in this year's draft are probably all going to have to make the team because we don't have any money to pay anybody any major free agent money. I'm sure we'll work something out. Somebody's going to get cut. Money will be given back, restructured, things of that nature. But as it goes right now, this draft now in 2020 becomes crucial, super crucial, because you are basically drafting for your roster. Sometimes when you go through those 7 draft picks or 8 or wherever you end up doing, all those guys don't make the team. And we talk about a lot of people that end up on the practice squad. These cats here, these 7 picks that you're going to make this year, they're going to have to make the roster because you don't have any money. As of December 27th, you don't have any money. And maybe that's why Rich McKay came back into things too. Rich McKay may be brought in to be the bad guy. Might have to send some people packing. Tario says, if the fans don't demand better, then we will never get better. Another year, if the same thing. Well, the fans are gonna always demand more. I don't think there's been a fan that I've sat out there and said, okay, Arthur, great job. We're just gonna roll with what you say. I think everyone this year has been pretty vocal about what we need to do moving forward. It's a matter of whether we execute or whether we follow through on those moves we need to make to be a better team in 2020. We have to be a better team in 2020. We have to. No doubt about it. Lisa said we're about to be 7-9, 2 years running. Not good, y'all. It's not. No. Tony says he gets another chance to be back against AFC teams. And this year it is the West, if I'm not mistaken. So we talk about what? Vegas, Kansas City, Oakland. I'm sorry, not Oakland. Vegas, Kansas City, San Diego, and Denver. And I think it's Denver and Vegas here. And we go to Kansas City and go to, not saying San Diego, LA. That'd be interesting. Amy says, I would support my team, but I'm nervous, real nervous. You should be, Amy. I think we all are nervous. Gerald says, what helps out the defense is when you have shortcomings. When you have shortcomings is having a good line and running back. Our running game is terrible this year. Have to improve on this in the offseason. Say what we want to say, y'all. The O-line, the 2 young guys, which are key, the 2 young guys are getting better. I'm watching these games. I'm watching the line over there. I'm watching those 2 guys over there. They're getting better. Have they arrived? No. This is their first year in the NFL. Offensive lines are not plug and play. Every now and then you luck up and get a Quentin Nelson and able to plug him in. Other than that, offensive lines take time. I say again, the Dallas Cowboys line was not built in 1 year. It took a couple of years. That now they have 3 or 4 perennial pro bowlers on the team. It takes a while. That you have to have patience for. You've got to. You've got to. Tidy, what was the difference between Smitty and Quinn in relation to blank firing one and keeping the other? I don't know. You know what? I almost wonder, did it seem like there was a little bit of head knocking near the end? Wasn't there something going on with Blank and Smith at the end of that year? Somebody remind me of that. There was some, Daniel, I know you still on. So remind me, wasn't there some type of disagreement or something with those guys in that last year? And it wasn't Jim Moore-ish or Bobby Petrino-ish, but there was some kind of disagreements there going on with him and Blank. I give Smith credit. Smith did come to his firing, which I thought that took a lot of courage to do. But as far as what's the difference, I maybe he likes Quinn more. And Quinn took him to that Super Bowl. Smith didn't. Jory says you're right. This 2020 draft class has to be on point. I don't want to see a lot of rookies we drafted on the field and not on. I want to see a lot of the rookies we drafted on the field and not on the practice squad. Mr. Glover said the hiring firm got him out. Okay. Daniel, I told you that we keep what we had, but hire someone to be the full-time DC. I like the Raheem Morris move. Defense have been different under him. Carol, what can the fans do to show that we matter? Mr. Blank needs to make better decisions regarding the franchise. We are not doing well at all. And Carol, I don't think he is ignoring the fans. I don't think he is. I think he's at a point right now where he's on the hook for a couple more years of paying these guys. And it's easy for us in the background to say, well, fire them, pay them the big money you're going to pay them the next 2 years, and bring somebody in here that we hope can just not pick up where they left off, but take this team to another level and pay them about $10 million plus a year as well. It's financial too. Don't let this fool you. He's loyal. He likes them, but he was also on the hook for these guys when he did that extension. So I think while loyalty plays a big part, he likes them, but I also feel like he was on the hook for that money as well. So if I'm paying somebody, they needs to be in the building. Brother Glover says the hiring firm that was looking for the Smith's replacement got leaked out while Smith was still the head coach. I thought it was something. There was a story there. And you're right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you reminding me. So there was some tension there near the end, but also Smith still got paid because he took a assistant coach. So Arthur Blank had to pay him a couple of years after that as well. Terrence says Matt's still there. So what's a coaching change going to do? I know we can go over the Matt thing all day, y'all. Yeah, Matt ain't going nowhere right now with $30 million. He's not. I do think they look to the future. I do think they draft the future, but Matt's not going anywhere unless somebody gives them an offer they can't refuse. Mr. Lee Payne Lewis, what's the difference between Mike Smith and Dan Quinn? They gave Mike his walk-in after a couple of bad seasons. Why are we holding on to Dan? His time has passed. Again, maybe a different relationship. Maybe something behind the scenes that we don't know. Like Brother Glover was telling us a few minutes ago, the fact that they were trying to look for somebody else behind his back and it leaked out, that could have had some animosity. Maybe Smith went in there and said, dude, if you're going to get rid of me, get rid of me. And he did. Steven, still offensive line issues. Grady still needs help. Need pass rush. Need linebackers. Messed up the draft spot. Little expectations for free agents. I still have little faith that we can plug all these holes. And we may not have as many holes as y'all think. I will say this. There's no denying the development of your younger guys on defense. Olaquan, Oliver, Sheffield. Some good play from those young men. The defensive line, we're definitely going to have to get some help for Grady. There, Sanat has turned out to be a non-factor. I don't want to say bust, but he hasn't been on the field. I need him on the field in order to see what he's going to do. He hasn't been on the field enough for me. I don't know if this is the last year of Jack Crawford's contract. Jack Crawford has kind of showed up a little bit. Solid work from Davison as well. Hopefully those two guys stick around and we just get some help, definitely at the end. Daniel, I think they find a way to bring Vic and Hooper back and let Campbell walk and cut Brown and possibly trade a few, but stop with the true font cut talk. He will be back. I would think they want one veterans back there in the secondary. Yeah, they might be stuck with True. I noticed you didn't mention Free on there. There's a possibility Free might be given some walking papers if they get the right running backs in there that they want. Running backs are now you don't have to overpay for running backs. We look back, that's probably one of our biggest mistakes, bowing down to Devonta's and what he was asking for. We could have got two running backs for what he kind of has us handcuffed for, even though he's had a couple of good games. We got to be better with our salary. Tony, we beat up a sorry Panthers team with their backup quarterback, Jacksonville's 6th-round draft pick at quarterback. Man, what a joke. We have one quality win. JJ, all we can do at this point is hope Quinn has actually learned something from these past 2 seasons. There is something better to come, 2020. Tony Jackson, 1-7. How about 1-4 last year? How about 1-13 preseason? RJ and Quinn, I trust. David, in my Taylor 12-month voice, what are we doing? What are we doing? Tidy, Quinn better start taking preseason game more seriously going forward. They're going to have to. Steven, I can't see why TD is still here. We put a ton of money and picks towards fixing the O-line, and it was mostly bad to average. Tony, how about the biggest choke job in NFL Super Bowl history? Tony, I think you like trolling the Falcons a little bit. We're going to put you down as a troll. Philip, how about 5-1 in 2015 and didn't make the playoffs? Gerald, it is coaching that teams got off to starts like this. Daniel says we would have won the Hall of Fame game if Ben Kurt didn't get hurt. Gary, Quinn, too soft of a coach to need to get some fire under him, always saying next time, but never comes, no accountability. Gregory, I'm just upset about the 2 late winning surges. Winning after 1-7 is too damn late. Laura, Falcons fan regardless. I hear you, Laura. Tony, team in Arlington has 5 rings. 5 rings from 30 years ago. That not relevant to me. Might as well say Detroit has rings from the 40s. Yeah, your ring talk has to be within the last 10 years for me, especially in today's day and age. K1, y'all fake fans ride with your team. I want to get into that one. When you say fake fans, I think it's interesting to me that you get folks that they want you to be as upset with them that the moves aren't being made. It's always, to me, either you're gonna, listen, the critique is fair. The critique is actually needed to let them know what's going on. But hey, the move is made. And obviously those messages were pre-recorded. So this has probably been a decision made for the last couple of weeks. They say 5-2, so I guess it must have been made somewhere after this Jacksonville game. So I don't mind people throwing out critiques. That's fine. Critique is healthy. Critique, opinions, they're great. But I'm trying to see what makes a fake fan if you want to ride with your team. I'd be interested to see your rebuttal to that, K1. Fake fans. What's fake about a fan wanting to support their team? I don't get that one. Daniel, Scott Pioli should have been the GM. Tony, wait, you trusting Dimitroff to draft again? Okay, man. Okay. Tony, here's my problem. If you've been listening to me, I've been saying all along, we need new leadership all around. Head coach, GM. Here's the reality. As of about 8:45 this morning, Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff are not going anywhere. Thomas Dimitroff is going to be in charge of your draft. No matter how many wisecracks, no matter how many he's sorry, no matter how many fake fans, no matter how many whatever, we can do that all day and all night. And matter of fact, type until your fingers fall off. They're going to be our coach and GM. I'm not saying you don't have a right to disagree, but at the same time, I'm saying, what are you going to do about that thing? When you say you trust Dimitroff to draft again, no. But I'm not the one that made the decision to keep him. My biggest thing is, again, are you staying or are you going? Sounds like a couple of y'all have already made decisions to go, which is fine. Knock yourselves out. But I'm one of those people that tend to say, you know what, what's done is done, and let's talk about now how to improve it. Does Dimitroff give me any confidence that he can do the job better than he's done the last few years, especially recently? No, he doesn't. But that doesn't mean that I'm just going to give up on the whole team. Every now and then he does luck up and get somebody in the 4th to 5th round. They did sneak Devonta at 4th round. They did sneak Grady. Dion was there at the 2nd round. I mean, I don't know. To each your own, though. Knock yourself out. Y'all feel like it feels better to dump on them. This is the platform. Do it. Long as you're tasteful. Do it. Knock yourself out. Tony says, after 55 years, this fan deserves at least one championship. I do agree with that. Absolutely. Hey, Brigida Johnson, how you doing? Rise up always. They are on what educators know as professional development plan. They are always going to be looked at for every detailed draft decision and play made. Based on if they improve, will determine if they get another contract. So is it time to see Quinn and Dimitroff rise up? It's a fair question. That's a fair feeling as a fan. As a fan, you want to see the disappointment in the owner, and you want to see him be so disappointed enough to make those changes. Why do people not get mad at Jerry Jones? And back to Tony's point about hardware, dude, it's kids that run in your face talking about 5 rings and stuff like that. Last time you even been to NFC Championship has been 25 years. And little kids, y'all weren't even there. Y'all probably couldn't even name the fullback. So, listen, do we have a lot of work to do? Absolutely. Am I totally convinced that Dimitroff is the right guy to do it? No. But I hope Rich McKay, as I think it was Philip that said, maybe he's the one that's going to have the quick trigger finger next time to say, okay, guys, what we're doing isn't right. Maybe I need to make the move to get you out of here. I do like the move of making Rich McKay more involved in this now. I do like that. Titus says Arthur could have waited until after the game on Sunday to announce this. Keep that heat on Quinn for at least one more game. And I hear you on that, but I think you know what it is, Titus? He did that because he didn't want a media circus. And I think I explained that earlier. I don't think he wants the media circus up at Flowery Branch. I don't think he wants to, if they look around and crab legs throw for 600 yards and 5 touchdowns and 7 interceptions like he normally does. He doesn't want that drama of people bashing him with questions about whether he's still going to be the coach. He got a little bit of it last week after the game, but I think he just wanted to put it out there and let him get to the business in 2020. Daniel, Freeman will need to restructure to stay in Atlanta. Freeman, we're going to get on personnel, man. Freeman probably needs to go. Tony, good job, Steven Johnson. I'm just venting at another year of mediocrity. Listen, Tony, you always welcome to vent. Anybody that wants to vent on here, I love it. And it's not a matter of me trying to say I'm right, you're wrong, and whatever. But I like to hear the other side. I'm one of those people that's probably sit on the fence of everything we do. There are certain things that I say, well, I don't know why they did that, but I'm going to ride with you and see if it works. Now, this year, I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed. I was very disappointed. At 1-7, I thought Quinn should have been gone and probably Dimitroff right with him. And this 5-2 little uptick that we've done in the second half, while great, and for those 3 hours during the game, is super great. I mean, you almost felt some life last week in that Jacksonville game. You almost felt some life in the Carolina game a couple of weeks ago. But you have to be held accountable for the whole season, not just November and December, which it would be great if you were 5-2 in November and December if you were 4-4 in the first half. But this stuff right here, to a lot of people's point, is worthless. But it did save his job, so I guess it's not worthless to the Quinn family. And congratulations for him for sticking to his job. I guess the Peach Movers they got one job that got canceled this week. Tony, I think we get Fromm 2020 or 2021. I think Fromm comes out. I don't think we get him. I'm trying to tell y'all again. Y'all go look at Arizona, man. Khalil Tate. That's going to be the name. I'm going to keep saying it. It's a sneaky name. It fits that mold that we need going forward. Somebody that can sit down, watch. Yeah, I know what some of y'all going to say, watch Matt Ryan. But watch a veteran, be a quarterback, and learn. That's kind of one of those guys that I look at and say, boy, that would be nice if they get them. Fromm would be interesting. I'm not sure I think Fromm is probably about 3 years away from even thinking about sniffing starting quarterback. I think it's a guy I would want in there that would be a little bit ready right now. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm losing touch. Y'all are awesome for doing this. Jimmy Wayne, I knew you were coming in and said thank you. As I told you they were coming back. You did. K1, it's funny how we was with him when we went to the Super Bowl, but now we all like fire him. But like they say, some of y'all mamas and daddies still messing with each other and hoping it works. But you know what, K1, that's our nature though, brother. That's our nature. We ride when it's high. Who doesn't ride when you winning? I mean, who doesn't pretend? Dude, everybody ride. It's folks I hadn't seen since 2016 that were asking when we were going to the game, how we were doing it, where y'all tailgating, where y'all doing this, how y'all doing. And I hadn't seen them since. When you win, folks are always in the mix. When you lose, you don't find them until the next winning season. So you're right to a certain extent. I'm kind of actually agreeing with you. But, yeah, I mean, just we'll see, man. But a fan is going to be a fan. Tidy says, animosity at the end because Arthur did his press conference and put Smitty on blast, basically. I remember that press conference. Yeah, Mike Smith was red as I don't know what in that press conference. Steven, TD has failed on so many draft picks for O-line over the years. Maybe that's why Rich is coming in. I hope so. Dimitroff and Smith, yes, because Dimitroff threw Smith under the bus. I agree. Saved his own behind. He did. People kept, and Glover says he gave us 28-3 too. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Daniel, Smitty lost the team and was not agreeing on players during the drafting process his last few years in Atlanta. That's what lost him the job. But remember, that wasn't Smitty's place, though. And that's why it was made clear, remember, when Quinn came in, that Quinn would have a lot more decision-making in the drafts along with Dimitroff, more than Dimitroff, Smith telling Dimitroff what he needed, and Dimitroff made those decisions. It's interesting that Smith didn't get another opportunity. Y'all got to remember, Smith had 5 straight winning seasons. You can't just ignore that. That's pretty good. You're not an average coach if you can keep your team winning for 5 straight years. David says the disagreement was years running on players. Smith wanted players. Dimitroff didn't. If one didn't like the players, they didn't draft him. Blank chose Dimitroff over Smitty. Tidy, Smitty still had a much better winning percentage than Quinn for what it's worth. Now, it's worth a lot. Again, that relationship soured quick. Very quick. And I think if you're Smitty, Tidy, you thought you were building some equity in those 5 years of winning. you would have thought, and I know he got one contract extension, but you would have thought those 5 years straight. Remember, for the longest, Falcons had never won back-to-back. But not only did he do that, he had back-to-back seasons of winning football. Yeah, it didn't end well, but I think Smitty was probably thinking, hey, well, can I build a little bit of equity in making some decisions around here? Going back to the Bill Parcells, what was it? Y'all want me to make the breakfast, but y'all not giving me the groceries or whatever it was that he said when he was in, was that New England? I think that was. Or Dallas, when he was in Dallas. Tony said, Blank said this is a performance business and these dudes. Look, that to me, Tony, was one of the things that made me think that he would pull the trigger more, because it is based on performance. And the performance the last 2 years has been garbage. And when you're not performing, you've got to go. And I just can't believe that we're sitting here now, and it was such a, and I'm sure you all have looked at the video by now. You would have thought they were coming off 3 straight playoff years, and this was the first year they were down. But it has to be, in my opinion, accountability for not starting off great. That means when the season starts the last 2 years, you weren't prepared. And then you, in mid-season, say, oh, that's what we do. You only have 16 opportunities to do it a year. Doesn't it make you mad? You look at Buffalo. Buffalo's winning. Doesn't it make you mad? And they basically tore down their team 2 years ago. Now, they have some contracts coming up, too, pretty soon. I don't think that Buffalo thing is on sustain as much as they do. Demetrius was going on and say, I told you. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Toddy says, with Matt and Julio being so extremely vocal to keep Quinn this year, they both better be Pro Bowlers next season. The NFC was with Aaron kind of coming back, Breeze, Russell. It was going to be hard for them to sneak in the Pro Bowl for the NFC this year. So, Julio is going to be Julio. Hopefully they, Pro Bowl. I could care less about Pro Bowl. You know what? I need all pros. Pro Bowlers, that's vote. I need top of the line players playing. Grady, to me, right now this year, Grady is the only one that's played on an all-pro level this year. Julio has been okay. He's come on strong, but Grady has been our most consistent player this year. And hopefully we realize that we need to get him some help. He can't do it by himself. Toddy said, I like Big Jack Crawford. I do like Jack. Lynn, I'm not going to be negative. I just hope the winning continues into next season, rise up. It's hard, Lynn, and it's hard. It's hard not to sit here, and a lot of us are biting our tongues saying, I don't know about this one, Arthur. But Arthur did it 2 days after Christmas, so we wouldn't be getting all negative on him, I guess. But I hear you, Lynn. Alan, Matt just needs a playbook that he's had for more than 2 years. Look at the previous production of the offensive OC that's been there for more than a 2-year span. Prediction of 11-5 next year. I hear you, brother. That's optimistic. I hear you. Stephen, first time listening. Good show. To answer your question, I'm staying, but complaining if we fail to do what we need to do to be successful. That's fair. That's fair, though. I mean, that's fair. If you don't feel like the team is living up to the expectations that you have as a fan, I'm not mad at you for leaving. But that's why I say, that's why I'm asking people, did this decision decide whether you're going to stay a fan, whether you're going to purchase tickets this year, whether you're going to keep your tickets next year? Just, it's a fair question. To me, again, I'm probably a different breed because I remember when Bartkowski first came here and June Jones was his backup. That's when we were going to games. So I've gone through some nasty, ugly years before. So to me, while this year is disappointing, I'm like on to the next thing. Am I disappointed a little bit that Arthur Blank didn't make the move? I'm not going to lie to you. I am a little bit. I thought it was a good time for a change. I thought this was a good time to get that yuck taste out your mouth and at least start something fresh with some new ideas and new eyes on these draft picks. I hear everybody always talk about why they don't pick University of Georgia players, why they don't get the SEC. I get it, all of that. Maybe somebody else with some different eyes to do it. But I think there was a staleness that's been coming across this team the last 2 years. Washington saw the staleness in there, and they got that boy out of there real quick. Even Carolina, give Carolina credit. Carolina was like, yeah, we even were in the playoff mix this year, and we see that we didn't like it. But that was a little bit of a different situation, though. That owner had just taken over, and none of the guys that were here, he inherited this situation. So for him, from the Panthers situation, is a little bit different. That owner's probably ready to say, it's my turn, and let's do that. What's going on, Ricky? How you feeling, brother? I told you, brother, they were coming back. You did. You absolutely did. I'm big on, hey, listen, if y'all said y'all told me so, I'm going to sit back and take it. You did. You did, because I was definitely somebody saying, I'll be here on Monday talking about them leaving. So you did. Jimmy, big news. I don't think Ditimroff will pick the draft pick this year. I think it'll be McKay. Ditimroff will deal with the money, which is what I've said to why he wouldn't get fired. Yeah, I think McKay, is clear by the video that Rich McKay, now that the stadium stuff is done and now that, all of that stuff is finished, now McKay is going to go back to doing what he was doing best, and that's being in football operations. Begita says, can't complain about what I can't change, just going to hope for the best. That's all any team who is not in the playoffs is just going to say, oh, dang, Chu Jones, right? Absolutely. Damian, I'm staying. I really didn't want to go to the coach carousel some other teams go through. Getting another coach, GM, players doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't, Damian. And listen, there are a few situations that you do plug a coach in, unless you're John Gruden and you inherited Tony Dungy's team. Somebody just recently did the same thing too, where they inherited somebody's team and took them to the Super Bowl. But yeah, it doesn't work all the time. It does not. And I am not happy to say that we needed to make some changes. I'm not happy to try to say, yeah, this guy needs to be fired. But at the same time, I'm telling y'all, 1-5, 2-3, 2-6. I can't do it again. I can't. And the change has to be made. If my brother said earlier, if we start off slow, maybe not 4 games. If we go like 6-7 games in, and we're 1-6 again, and talk about waiting until November, we can't do that again. Carlos, it sucks. Gotta stay optimistic. Everybody needs to stop acting like they done with the birds, but they're not. Let's keep it funky. Oh no, look, Carlos, this is vent day, bro. Everybody's gonna do that. It's almost like when you go to work, you vent about work. I hate this place. I'll never come back, blah, blah, blah. And then you come back next 2 weeks and you get your paycheck and it's all good. Same thing with fandom. You're mad at fandom. You're mad at your team. I get mad. I was furious over the first 8 weeks of this year. But as y'all see, it's December 27th. I'm still supporting these cats, and I'm sure most of you are still supporting them. No different. No different. Ricky, but that wasn't going to happen. Blank said it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense to make changes because that's the issue. Yeah, he was saying something about they had made some studies and stuff like that. Need to make some studies on how to start off the year better. K1 says, I'm at the games, tailgating, all the above. no matter win, lose. 1 minute, you want Matt Ryan gone. Now I'm hearing about Julio Jones gone. Come on, man. When these folks put the body on the line every Sunday, y'all fake. No, listen, I hear the same talk. You do. It's one. Listen, every person on this team deserves to be evaluated because during that 1-8 part that we were going through the season, you can't go through that and say, well, but Julio's still an all-pro. Well, but Grady's still a great defensive line. And, well, Matt Ryan is still going to give you this. You can't do that. You have to have a very good evaluation of every person on this team. See if their heart's still there. See if their mojo is still rolling. And I think it was obvious this year that there were some guys that, I don't want to say quit. I don't think anybody quit. But there were some guys that you realize, maybe it's time to put some of these young boys out there. Love what Oliver and Sheffield have been doing the second half together. Are there mistakes? Absolutely. But you're talking about first and second year cornerbacks. And even give True a little bit of credit. I think True might have seen them young boys starting to come on. And now all of a sudden, you saw some things out of him before he got hurt. So you have to evaluate whether it be Julio, whether it be Matt, whether it be Grady, whether we keep Hooper, whether we even offer Vic Beasley a 1 year prove it contract, a 1 year, $4 or $5 million to say prove what you can do. I mean, there are so many things going into this season that we're going to have to look at going forward, because now that we know the same guys are going to be making the decisions, it's going to be something else. And maybe Rich McKay takes charge of that process this time. Maybe Rich McKay becomes more hands-on. I think he will. Ricky, and I like the move to make Morris to DC. He earned that. I think the GM needs to go too. That's what Greg said. I want us to win Sunday. Ricky, all of us was disappointed, but at the same time, we got to embrace the fact that this was AB's decision. We don't have a choice. He got the money. Ricky, we won't get from Ski, Jacob Eason. Nah, I'll pass. Ricky, I do think that we will get a quarterback in the later rounds. I think we will too. David, the Daniels kid at Arizona State is who I'm looking at. Daniels is pretty good too. He's actually not that bad. Alan, I like Tate and Herbert to sit behind Matt and learn. I don't think Herbert will be he'll be there. He'll probably be first round. Whoever the quarterback we get is not going to be first, second, maybe in the third round. But now Herbert won't be there. Tate might have a chance of being there. Clayton, honestly, the player behind the coaches in the we got AM behind the players see something in DQ that the fans don't see. I think DQ should stay, but next year give him 4 games. If we are 1-3, 2-2, 0-4, let him go. TD needs to go. He making us broke. I hope McKay will help. But 2-2, I would hope you wouldn't get rid of him after 2-2. 2-2 is kind of bold. 1-3 and 0-4. Yeah, maybe so. You never know. My issue is our OC scheme. We had a squad with Tampa Bay and wasn't successful. He had a squad with Tampa Bay and wasn't successful. And what in the world we thinking he's going to do better with us? I tell you what, he's definitely done better. I'm not saying it was the year we went to the Super Bowl better, but we have been doing much better in the second half, especially trying to run the ball. We still have some work to do, folks. The offensive line is not going to be remedied overnight. We still have a lot of work to do on the offensive line. So I hear you with that. Dirk Cutter, it'll be interesting to see. I think he's going to stick around too, but Ted says we're done. You know he was coming. Ted was coming with the skies falling. I got you, Ted. What's going on, brother? Merry Christmas. Bruce, I'm coming back. At the end of the day, we all got Oh man. Oh, let's see. Rusty. Yeah, I hear you, Rusty. Anthony White says terrible move. Tell me why, Anthony. Don't just give me some reason. Clayton, always a fan, win, lose, or draw, till death do a part. I hear you. At least I'll get up to move my seats. I'll get to move my seats a few rows up. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. They did say that. Maurice, if you roll with Abear, Leftwich, Bobby Abear, Leftwich, Chandler, and Miller, then you can deal with this decision. Absolutely. Michael, need additional strategies to accomplish winning program. Offensive and defensive needs to tighten up if they want to be better. Tidy, 4 games. If we start 1-3, then you pull the trigger on Quinn. Dang, y'all rough, man. Y'all say 4 games. It depends on what that schedule is, too. Now, keep in mind, again, I know we do the AFC West, and I believe we are back to the NFC North again. So you're talking Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago. Vegas, LA Chargers, Denver, and Kansas City. Right, looking at it right now, it looks like it's a couple of good teams, but each year is different. So I hear you. Rusty, it is what it is. I think Matt and Julio are tied to Dan Quinn now. If we don't win a Super Bowl in 2 years, we are going to rebuild completely. My only issue with the whole situation is that why did it take 8 weeks for Ricardo Allen and Julio Jones to come out and say they're playing for Dan Quinn? They should have been doing that from day one, and that is concerning. Rusty, I think from the beginning, they couldn't believe they were going through this swoon. I truly think no one knew what the answer was. And maybe that bye week was something that woke them up to saying, you know what, y'all, we might be playing for job security. More than Dan Quinn's job, we're playing for a lot more than that. That's the way I feel about it. But Ricky, I'm rising up regardless. There you go. Bruce Barr, Dirty Birds forever. Perry, how you doing, sir? Wasn't expecting to hear this. So 1-7 first half. AB must have missed that. This means Beasley, Free, True, all coming back. Beasley is not coming back. As I've talked about in my past broadcast, unless we offer him a prove-it contract. Prove it to me is 1 year, $4 million, $5 million. I'm not sure if his agent will go for it, but listen, I think you got to have more out of him. That was a number 1 pick. And not only a number 1 pick, but a number 1 pick you invested $12 million in. It's nice that he's now starting to get numbers, and it's a possibility he may get double digits this weekend. You're right. But when we needed him the most, a lot of times he wasn't there between 2018 and this year. Give you credit for doing what you're doing the last couple of weeks, but I needed you those first 7 to 8 games. I needed you last year. I can't do it. Free is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Free's contract. I know Tidy's been going over some good analysis as far as some of these contracts are concerned. I missed most of you yesterday when you started talking about it, Tidy. Unfortunately, I'm going to catch the Red Cup Chronicles later on. Ricky, that's what I'm expecting. Vic in a prove-it contract. Free gone. Neal gone. Campbell, Hoops contract. Get rid of Carpenter and Jamar Brown. Continue development with the young defense. Get some real help on the O-line. McGarry and Lindstrom are the reason why we have a run game now. I will say this. Carpenter, I would almost maybe take a chance on him. Yeah, Brown is I'm not sure about Brown. I don't think he'll make it. I don't think those contracts were had a lot of money attached to them. I think it'll be easier to get rid of either of those contracts. A lot of you want to see Neal gone. It's interesting to me. I would almost give him a shot. Now, I think Tidy had pulled up. I think You said I can't remember how much you told me last time Neil was going to get, but I know if they were to let him go, it wouldn't hurt us cap wise. But I don't know. I think I would keep Neil a little bit. Yeah, Hooper. Whew, that's just going to be a tough call because Hooper's going to command at least $10 million. He's going to at least command $10 million. If he gets $10 million a year, I think you have to let him ride. And Campbell, as much as he's done, he leads the team in tackles. You can't overlook that. But I think you have to look at, moving on. Adrian Peterson for 1 year, $1.8 million. I mean, he's a little old. Listen, I understand. He's definitely had a renaissance in Washington, and I get it. I'm not sure. I would almost rather groom Allison to start getting some more playing time as opposed to, 1.8 is a good number, but I'm not sure. I think you work with what you got. Maybe draft one more running back. But I think you work what you got. Neil, 6.6 million. I thought it was. I was going to say 6.5. Thank you, sir. At 6.5 million, yeah, that would be money we'd be able to move. And I got a feeling if we were to move Neil, I think that might hint that we're trying to work something out with Hooper, if that's the case. I think you would try. You try your best to get Hooper back, but I'm telling y'all, Hooper's going to make a lot of money. Robert says, well, since both will be back, we will need a plan. Vic gone, True gone, or move to safety. Can't resign Neil at strong safety, but at linebacker. But he said we picked up his option. So, again, it would be a matter of whether we want to drop his option or not. So his option was already picked up. Let's see. Jake moved to right tackle. I guess you're talking about putting Big McGarry at left tackle. Freeman gone. Draft a DT, DN, and another linebacker. Bring Hoop back, but change offensive scheme. I know none of this will happen. Just throwing things out. Laugh out loud. Rise up. No, brother, it's some good ideas. I do like. Well, not even like it's a Vic gone. I think they're going to probably end up keeping True. You got to have one veteran back there in the back. He showed some signs that he might have been ready to come, even though he's kind of worrying me with these little injuries as well. We're paying him too much money for the injuries he's had. Neil will be an interesting decision. Freeman, I'm with you. He can kick rocks. Jake moved to right tackle. That'll be an interesting move to see if they think about putting McGarry on Matt's blind side. Even though I've been watching stuff saying Matthews is actually graded out great on his side. It was one of the things I was watching this week where one of you guys posted that he was graded out pretty good. Randy says they're going to keep Neil and Hooper. It's going to be interesting, bro. Hooper, though, I don't know, Randy. Where they going to get the money from, Randy? I don't know. Hooper's not going to get less than $10 million a year. And his guaranteed money has got to be in the at least $30 million range. I don't see where they get that money unless they make some cuts that we're not expecting. Steven says, I don't understand why Allison doesn't get more touches. He's the big bat we've needed since Turner. I think Allison is going to be a big part of going forward. We're still going to get another running back. I'm not sure whether Ito is going to stick around or not. Brian Hill may have played himself into next season's roster with some of the good work he's been doing, but Allison will definitely be a factor. But I'm with you, Steve. I don't know why they haven't been using him as well. Perry, O-line is going to be number one pick again because we have that noodle throwing quarterback. You know his name. You have to protect him. Man, y'all leave my quarterback alone, man. But I do hear you. Yeah, we may need to make that move, man. Does Big Isaiah from Georgia, is that somebody you take a chance on? He's getting a second round grade at this moment, but they got to go through the combines. You're not going to be able to get Andrew Thomas, I don't think. But Big Isaiah might be something to think about. Tidy, it's going to be hard to justify extending Hooper with our salary cap situation, even though he is clearly one of the best and most consistent players on this team. I would argue, Tidy, behind Grady, before he got hurt, Hooper was definitely our most consistent player. If you really break it down, he was doing real good. Tidy, we got to cut Alex Mack. Yeah, it may be end of the road. Maybe Alex might be willing to restructure. If he restructures, maybe he can stay. I would think about him staying if he restructured that money. Carlo, the league going to increase the salary cap? Maybe. I'm sure they will. They're getting ready to come into the CBA negotiations too. Could be kind of interesting. Remember, we played the 1 year with the wide open cap going into the year. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm sure the cap increases every year. Those TV deals kick in and they get a little bit more money every year. I'm sure it will. Steven says, I think McGarry is more of a right guard than right tackle. I like Lindstrom at right guard. It's interesting, though. I think he played some good tackle, especially the last few games. If you look at some of those pulling plays they have, but don't sleep on him. I think he's going to be a good tackle. He's taken some. Did he start rough? Absolutely. But also remember, he had the issue. People forgot all about that. He had the issue with the heart in that beginning of the year. They didn't think he was going to, and there were times we thought he might not even play. So he's gutted it out all season. I'm pretty sure, trial by fire. They threw him out there against some really good players. So let's see at the end of the year how they get him bulked up and get him going into the next year. Offensive line coach, that's going to be crucial. Going to be crucial to see what they do on offensive line. Philip, can't keep Hooper, is too much invested on the offensive line as it is. Jaden Graham, I'm not trying to make him the next Hooper or whatever. He's shown flashes. It'll be interesting to see how they develop him because he's somebody that will probably end up being in the mix, whether they bring him and then bring maybe a cheaper option in at tight end. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to keep Brate and O.J. Howard this year. Maybe Cameron Brate can roll over here. He knows Cutter's system. Bring somebody like that in here to be another pass-catching tight end. He's actually pretty decent, but they had to give the time to Howard because they paid him that money. Robert said, it's strange. PFF always give grades high on our O-line. Yeah, I don't get it. Jake is a better right tackle. Trust me. Oh, no, I'm not doubting you. I guess I'm saying, are you ready to put McGarry on more than Jake moving to the right? Are we ready for McGarry to take over on the left side? That's my biggest thing. I don't doubt that Matthews can be a pretty good right tackle. I'm saying you got your 35, 36-year-old quarterback. His blind side tackle has to be good. And while McGarry has taken his lumps and showed improvement, are we ready for him to really be put in that place? I'm not sure. Jarvis, it takes time for our O-line to adjust. Our rookie O-line will be fine. Steven says Graham can replace Hoop. Yep, I agree. Tidy, what can we expect from Tat McKinley next year? Boy, and, that's somebody we're going to have to think about, folks, because it's almost time for 50-year option on him too. Listen, I was just as excited seeing him walk across that stage, fired up, and those first couple of games where he looked like he came out of the box and he was going to be this big 10-sack-a-year guy and stuff like that. But you know what, y'all? For all the stuff we give Vic, it seems like I don't want to see people. I don't see people giving Tat that same love. I mean, not same love, but that same critique. We don't want to give it to Tat, but Tat has been slightly disappointing too. And we traded up to get him. You make a trade up to get somebody, I need to see those results. Has he been okay? Yeah. First round pick, I need you to be more than okay. I'm not playing fantasy numbers with you. I'm just saying I need you to be more than okay. Ricky says McGarry is growing into a good tackle. Lindstrom came in as a beast. We're going to need Hooper. We absolutely will need him. It's a matter of whether we can afford him. Ricky, but we need to go get some help on the left side of the O-line. Brown and Carpenter were bust. Tack is gone. I think, again, I like Carpenter more than I like Brown. I think Brown is definitely gone, but I do like Carpenter a little bit more. Orion, do you think the start on next season, will the seats be filled or empty? I think they're going to be filled. Every year, optimism will take over more than anybody. We can all sit here and be disappointed. Off the blank, you're soft. Dan Quinn is garbage. TD can't pick anybody. Matt Ryan's getting old, whatever. I guarantee you, y'all, when I go in that opening game next year, it will be packed out because optimism for the season. Now, results follow will be the difference between me seeing red seats and me seeing people in seats. And not only that, but seeing other teams come in here and infiltrate our stadium as they did during Seattle and the Rams. That was embarrassing. You had two West Coast teams come in here and basically take over your stadium. Not West Coast. It would have been something at the New Orleans game. But, I was surprised. New Orleans games, while it was the typical New Orleans play, it was pretty solid Falcon in there for the Thanksgiving game. So I kind of give them credit, even though I know it was Thanksgiving. So, Tidy, learn from the mistake we made with Beasley. Don't pick up Tack's fifth-year option. Good point. Very good point. Stephen, Brown should have never got a contract. He's way off of New York with the Giants, almost in Eli's career. I thought he was with the Jets. Ricky, some things we got to cut the cord. Unless Tack can get up to speed next year, he's out. Not to mention we need to get some corner help as well. Ricky, I'm trying to tell y'all, and I'm not saying you still don't go and get a corner, but I'm telling y'all, I'm impressed. I don't know about y'all. I'm impressed by Oliver and Sheffield, the growth. I'm impressed. They are not Darrelle Revis. They're not Darrell Green. That Darrell Green, old guy, y'all don't know about from Washington Redskins. They're not going to be mistaken for any top-tier cornerbacks, but I like their growth this year. And it'll be good to see them one more year in. Remember, Sheffield was a very low draft pick. We're paying pennies on the dollar for him. And Oliver still as a second-round pick. We're not paying that much for him as well. This is his third year. There's no need to make a change. Maybe get another cornerback in here, possibly. Maybe, but yeah. Robert, yes, I'm ready. McGarry and Lindstrom are going to be really good. Tack might want to move to DT. He's not fast off the edge. He's strong against the run. It's kind of funny, though. Tack seemed a little faster his first year. I don't know about now, but he definitely seemed a little faster his first year. That could just be me. Ricky, it doesn't matter. People react to losing the same way, but the traffic on 75-85 and Marta on game day will be the same. We're mad now, but we'll rise up on game day. Absolutely. Conley, Dale says we should keep Vic. I think we keep him for another year. Depending on what that price is, Conley. Now, he's going to have his agent fool you into think these 9 sacks is worth $9 million. If his agent come in talking anything more than $5 million, you let Vic try himself out on the free agent market. Y'all get ready. Vic is probably not going to be here. Tidy, New Orleans fans haven't been able to afford the new stadium prices like they did at Georgia Dome. Very good point. Very good point. Because the prices did. If y'all paying for tickets at the Georgia Dome and you paying now over at Mercedes-Benz, trust me, you are paying more money. I don't need to know where you work. I don't need to know how much money you make. But I know you're paying more money. Trust me. Stephen Carpenter was with the Jets. It's an okay backup. Left guard. Lindstrom can start at left guard. McGarry, I think, can shine at right guard if we find a right tackle in the draft. Ricky says Oliver was greatly improved over the first of the year. Sheffield would be good with another year. I don't know if True will be there the rest of the season. Again, I think you always keep a veteran back there in the back with the cornerbacks. I think True will be back. Robert, Sheffield will be good. KZ is a bona fide ball hawk. We can cut Rico and not re-sign Neal. Also, remember, too, KZ going into next year, KZ is going to be up in 2021. So, Rico, could be some decisions made on Ricardo Allen because you can't overpay safeties. And you're already talking about, everybody's already talking about Neal not being here, but you can't overpay safety, but you also can't just throw away all your safeties either. KZ, you got to keep on the team. Look for KZ to get a nice deal during the season next year. I think he's earned it. He's definitely earned it. Tidy, Darrell Green was still able to run 40 in 4.4 at 40 years old. Truly a great player. Was kind of overshadowed by Dion and Rod Woodson in his day. And look, I'll keep it honest. Rod Woodson was very good. Rod Woodson played on a perennial playoff team with Pittsburgh. Darrell Green was no slouch, man. To your point, nobody was going to outrun Darrell Green, without a doubt. Darrell Green was the truth. And you're right, at 40 years old, he was still out there doing his thing. So, folks don't, that's one of them names people don't remember, but, Darrell was the truth. Ricky said the price ain't high enough. The price ain't going to be high enough to keep Vic. Vic will be at home discount. You'd be surprised, man. Somebody's going to offer Vic too much money. It happens all the time. Somebody's going to overpay for him. Trust me. Tidy, True Font will be in Atlanta next year. Hashtag book it. I'm with you. Ricky, and we're going to pay KZ. We got to pay KZ. Ricky replies to Tidy says, I believe that, but he will play through the entire year, though. Steven, I don't think we can afford to make any moves in the secondary with all the issues in the trenches. I think we still have to find a linebacker that could be what Raleigh was supposed to be, but wasn't. Yeah, linebacker is a move unless Campbell. I don't know what Campbell's situation is going to be. Obviously he's not going to be in the tier of Dion. He's probably in that second tier where you probably could offer him $5-6 million. I think it would be a decent move for Campbell. I don't want to get rid of him per se, but I could see them drafting a stud linebacker maybe to take his place in the second round, possibly. But don't sleep on the linebacker. We need a new linebacker. Robert, for some reason this season, Quinn went away from Olajuwon and KZ. Campbell will be gone as well. He's hit the ceiling here. Hit the ceiling. Yeah, thanks, man. Look, I'm already challenged with these thick glasses, so don't make it worse for me. I can hardly see, but no, I hear what you're saying as far as yeah. But you know what? No, linebacker is a commodity, man. You need to you got to have good linebackers, man. How many times these running backs are coming out? Running backs are coming out of the backfield. Tight ends are coming out. We've got to get a linebacker that can cover these tight ends. If that's been the Achilles heel, even during this good little run we're having, our tight end coverage has not been up to par. I see Campbell doing the best he can. Deion Jones had a couple of times where he was trying his best to hang with Kittle, and Kittle just killed us. That's one of the areas that I think we need to improve in. As I see the time has crept on for me, some people have to go to work. I guess this is going to end up being kind of an NFL preview as well. The Falcons end the season in Tampa Bay. Look for this to be wide open offensively. I think this is going to be a big time offensive game. Jameis is playing for his next contract. He's got a lot of work to do. to convince a team to pay him $30 million. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to do it. I don't think Tampa's going to pay him $30 million. And if they do, good luck to them, because that's going to be a bad investment. Look at, I think the difference in this game is going to be the running game. And I think right now our running game has been better. I think we've been giving Matt a little bit better protection, and John Harris would be super proud of me. Matt has been letting that ball go a little bit sooner, and just releasing that ball just a little bit has been helping him out as far as, you know, at least keeping us in the game. Got to be careful on some of those long passes, underthrowing some of the guys that he's been seeing, underthrowing them. You can't do that. I look forward to be a shootout, but I do think the Falcons are going to have enough. And for the second straight year, I think the Falcons are going to be 7-9, and they're going to end the season, guess what, in second place. Is that going to be crazy? Second place. If we win this game against Tampa Bay for the second year in a row, we'll be the second place team in the NFC North. South. I'm sorry. Is that crazy or what? Just silly. But look for the Falcons big time. I'm going to call it out. I'll say 35-31 in a big game. Matt Ryan goes for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, probably throw a pick or two. Jameis goes for his traditional 500 yards, but we'll throw at least 4 interceptions, and we'll shut them down at the end in a last-second drive. Anyway, hey, guys, got to get going. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to catch you all on Sunday. I guess the Black Monday edition. It'll be a Black Monday edition, but the Falcons won't be part of it. But we'll be part of the conversation right after the Tampa game, just to talk about what happened. Hopefully another Falcons win, because at the end of the day, it's about the rise up. Look like the rise up is going to be here. Brotherhood's going to be here at least one more year. Let's see what Dan Quinn and them are going to do. So again, until then, thank y'all for joining me, Steve Sports Talk. Atlanta Bird game. We'll catch y'all on Sunday. Rise up. Hope y'all had a great Christmas. Take care. Don't drink too much this weekend. Folks are out there, and y'all be good. Peace. Catch y'all later.